Hello all and Happy New Year. And I really do mean Happy New Year. The fact that there are still people speaking out and doing things on the internet against the general wisdom that has overtaken our media, it shows that we do have hope of discussion and political maturity. And although I'm going to get depressed over the year about various things, I know that in small increments we are gaining ground. I don't mean we in the sense of conservative types, I mean we in the sense of humanity. However, we have to fight a lot of rubbish, and I'm going to be talking about a tweet that was put up by Paul Embery this morning, which is New Year's Day as I'm making this, and I just want to talk about that with you. But before I do, I'll tell you I'm Granniopteryx on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I let you know when I've uploaded a new video on my Twitter, Gab and Parler platforms, where I am at Granniopteryx, and I do urge you, especially if you're watching this on YouTube, to give a thought to subscribing to one of those, simply because YouTube often fails to notify subscribers. And while I'm talking about subscribers, if you're subscribed on YouTube, check that out as well, because subscriptions drop for some reason. You can help my channel by liking this video, by click that like button, you know you want to, share the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. As I say, check it out if you are. Okay, you can also help me financially, of course. Buy me a coffee or one of the other links in the description. All the links are in the description. Right, now, you see, this morning I opened my Twitter feed and I saw a tweet by Paul Embery. Paul Embery is a very interesting fellow. I have great admiration for him. He was on the executive committee of the Fire Brigades Union. He is actually a firefighter, and he was on the executive council or whatever it's called. And then in 2019, what's it say here? He spoke at a pro-Brexit Leave Means Leave meeting, and he was immediately cancelled, exiled, leopard, and I mean L-E-P-E-R-E-D. And that was the end of it. So being an intelligent chap and a committed person, that is committed to discussion, progress in the real sense of the word, and the welfare of other people, he became an author and a political commentator. And you see him turning up on stuff like GB News, and the main media tend to try to ignore him, but he's got a following, whatever. And he put up a tweet. I don't have it here now, but I'll try and put it up here. He said he watched the New Year's fireworks, and it turned out to be a LGBTQ XYZ plus minus multiplied. Have you seen the new flag? It now has a red umbrella. I mean, I have a red umbrella, which I shall now be afraid to use in London for fear of being misinterpreted in some way, either for or against whatever particular political position whoever's looking at the red umbrella is taking. Those guys, they've succeeded in ruining the rainbow. I mean, when it was just LGB, it was a rainbow. And it was supposed to encompass everything. And then bit by bit, the whole idea has been overtaken by people who've been adding more and more bits to it until the flag has turned into a fractal. And they succeeded in ruining the rainbow. And now they're going for the umbrellas. I wonder if it's got something to do with rain. Anyway, back to the Twitter thread. Embery made the point that he just wanted to see a fireworks display, not a lecture on gender identity or whatever it was. I didn't see it. The thread underneath his comment ranged from the demented through the racist to the plain silly. And every one of them did the same thing to start with. They willfully misinterpreted what he said. You know, any sane person could have seen that what he was saying was, I just went there to enjoy a visually interesting display, to welcome in the new year. I didn't need a political lecture. That's what he said. Well, they accused him of racism, fascism, I don't know, any sort of ism. And when I was looking at the thread, I thought, surely people can't be that stupid. Now, you know, despite my advanced years, I am still, very often, the sort of person who starts off by thinking that most people are good and well-intentioned, and they may have chosen a way that I wouldn't think of as the right way to improve the lot of humanity, and some ways with which I actually disagree. However, if they can string a sentence together, it means they're normally intelligent and well-meaning. That was the way that's my default position. But looking at that thread, I have to say I'm starting to revise that, because the people who were writing on that thread were either abysmally stupid, or more likely they were deliberately choosing the wrong way to take it so they could throw dirt on what was a perfectly reasonable opinion. And either way, they are destroying political debate. And I think that is probably the main intention here. We just have shouting matches. Now, I know a lot of people have said that before. I'm not coming up with anything original. However, I feel I have to say this because I believe that whenever anybody wants to approach any sort of an argument, this is what they should be thinking of in their opponent, if their opponent is on the left or the, I was going to say something else, I'm not going to say that. If their opponent is on the left, and by on the left, I mean not necessarily Marxist, although often they are, but there's now I was going to say something else. There are various subgroups, let's put it this way, who should not be in the same group, but they are aligning themselves. And they're doing that for the same reason. They don't want reasonable debate anymore. They just want shouting matches, because when you've got a shouting match, the most violent and the most forceful is the one that takes control. The whole point about debate is that there are balanced arguments, or two arguments balancing each other, and then a conclusion for one side or the other, or even a consensus is reached. But when there's a shouting match, you can't hear any of that. So the person who's willing to climb on everybody else is the one who gets to the top. That destroys any idea of democracy. It's a recipe for, well, real fascism. It's a recipe for dictatorship. And in most ways, the minority groups, which I cannot name on YouTube, and the left, they all have that ambition. And we all have to beware of that. Oh yes, I've rumbled you guys. And so have we all. Okay, well look, keep that as your New Year's resolution. Remember that the person who is doing the shouting is not shouting because of a deep, heartfelt conviction in the truth and the outrage at other opinions because they're all terribly wrong. No, it's a deep-rooted conviction that the more you shout, the more your side will gain the dictatorship. So when you're arguing with such people, you have to remember that. Okay. Till next time, and again, Happy New Year. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.